Hi friends, host Eric here, host Talking with Famous People, and today we're talking about Asia, specifically Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, and South and North Korea. What prompted this is this video I made with a student of mine a long time ago. It was about July 22nd, 2016 is when it was about. She's a Chinese national, and she, in this video, argues that Taiwan is part of China and that China should take it over, basically. And as I say in the description, I highly recommend it as revelatory of the Chinese education system and the limiting effect of indoctrination upon young humans. This video makes me cry both good and bad tears. By the end of it, I had made some serious progress. But the thing is, I get a lot of comments on this regularly, and it gets regular views. So there's a lot of nonsense comments. So you'll see in this one here, I'll share my screen so that you guys can see these comments too. And they typically run along, the most common of the vectors of these comments is America does the same thing, or America does worse stuff. First is China's internal affairs, and don't forget Taiwan is officially titled as the Republic of China. So, all the problem is due to the unfinished civil war between the two parties a few decades ago. I wonder what it has to do with you Americans. Oh right, I forget you guys are the so-called world police. Second, please mind your language, especially in front of an innocent student who didn't do anything wrong. I will not mind my fucking language in front of anybody because it's not relevant to the discussion. Also, be patient. This is a discussion, not a battle. No, it's not. It's a battle for freedom and liberty and justice over your idiocy. Trust me, it's not easy to discuss in a second language. Lastly, you seem so arrogant and disrespectful. I am disrespectful of China's authoritarianism. So, when you see here is, this is the one I was arguing just the other day ago. With American justice under the laws, this guy. I don't know what the Chinese stuff says, obviously. So, the so-called the liberty and freedom is the stagnation of economy for 10 years and a bad election of your president. Taiwan is not America, and it has not a good history for the growth of what is called democracy in America. Well, do you really think you are just like the white people that once shit upon your shoulders? Time to wake up. Whatever that means. Let's see if I can find some more of these crazy comments that I get. This 15 around years old girl, it's a long one. Jesus Christ. Not very good at organizing their ideas. When a professor tried being aggressive. I mean, it's a debate class, you fucking idiots. You don't even know what that means, so you can't conceive of it. Many of these arguments are just as same naive as a young girl full of logic of binary opposition, black or white, right or wrong, either democracy or you are evil. No, not either democracy or you are evil. Individualism. I don't think the American way is the only right way. I criticize America all the time. Two pride citizens collide with each other. It's not a pride citizenship thing. I mean, this is the thing. They can't get the idea that I'm not fighting a side of America here. In terms of human rights, China historically doesn't have a clean record, but neither does America. I'm not defending America. So, it's like these are the sort of things I have to deal with all the time. These people, they're brainwashed beyond all belief. Anyway, this is too difficult to look at all these comments. The gist of it is always the same. It's America does the same thing, or America did this, and so if China is bad for doing it, then so is America. Well, whoop-de motherfucking do. It's like, I'm not defending America, but they don't understand this because they can't conceive of discourse that's not driven by team membership. And it brings us down to the issue of communitarianism versus individualism. So we have 3 places in the countries we're talking about that are basically civil society. South Korea, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And we've got 2 places that are not, China and North Korea. The 2 that are not are communitarian, and the 3 that are, at least somewhat, prioritize individualism. And so as a consequence, you can see the difference in the level of thinking. The Chinese nationals are not capable of having a rational discussion about the moral aspect of it, about the normative aspect of it. I keep trying to explain to them, I'm not saying that the United States should necessarily do anything, although in this video I am advocating that the United States align themselves with Taiwan, to say that we recognize Taiwan as a country and that we will be their ally and defend them if China should attack them. And I do advocate that in no uncertain terms. But what I'm saying is, what the United States ought to do with Taiwan, I'm not saying the United States ought to attack China or something. And besides that, what I'm advocating is, and most importantly, what I'm advocating is that China does the right thing, that they don't engage in aggression, which is illegitimate, and that as a general rule, in discourse, in talking with each other, we ought to prioritize that which is legitimate on a metric of rights. So it's not about democracy. This is the other thing. I'm not saying democracy is a inherently great way to govern things. I think that democracy it depends on how it's executed, I guess you'd say. And so I think that the most important thing is we want a civil society in which individuals are free to do and say as they please, provided it doesn't transgress upon others. By and large, you have such a society in South Korea, in Hong Kong, and in Taiwan. And you don't in China, and you don't in North Korea, obviously. North Korea is the most extreme example of communitarianism. But communitarianism is always bad. It always leads to authoritarianism, and it always leads to transgression. America is engaged in some amount of communitarianism as well. I don't like it here either. Obviously, our current administration in America is whatever capital the nation of the United States of America had in terms of leadership is long since gone, even before Trump got here. And there's no reason to presume that the United States can meaningfully function as a leader until we take back the discourse. It's like what Trump is doing is just destroying any meaningful dialogue that might happen that would cause people to make good decisions. He doesn't believe in discourse, in deliberation, in dialogue. He believes in whatever he feels like doing. And that's obviously a problem. I'd be the first in line to critique the United States about shit tons of stuff because I'm really mad about the way that my country has devolved into just a nightmare of corrupt tomfoolery. That, do we need to check this shit? Yeah. Does America need to do a bunch of things differently? Fuck yeah. Does that mean that it's okay for China to take over Taiwan? No. And if you Chinese nationals wish to convince me that you're not brainwashed, then argue the normative issue. Don't start telling me about history and I don't know enough and blah, blah, blah. And it's not black and white. Yes, it is black and white. It's as black and white as if I were to say, we should go nuke the fuck out of China right now to deal with the problem once and for all. If I were to say that, you'd have a very black and white determination about it, right? Because after all, you'd be dying in nuclear explosions. What you're not accounting for is that you're using force as well with China. China's using force right now on Taiwan, even though they're not actively shooting bullets at anybody. They are using coercion, I guess I should say. They're not using force, but they're using coercion right now. And they're using unjust coercion. And if it were up to me and I were president, I would absolutely say, the United States hereby recognizes Taiwan as a nation, and I will form a treaty with him if I can get Congress to pass it, that says it's just like NATO. You know, it's like I will sign us onto a treaty with Taiwan for NATO, just a Taiwan, South Korea, United States treaty that says the United States will treat you as allies and will be there to defend you if you are attacked by anybody. 100%. You know, it's like, that's not aggressive at all. That's saying, it's preventing aggression. Now, China, I've been to you, okay? I've been there. I've been to Taiwan as well. I haven't been to Hong Kong, where Luna lives. Luna's still here? Yeah, she's still here. But some of the things I saw in China. The utility workers who were working up on the electrical lines. I walked past and I did a double take. I was like, oh my God. Their ladder wasn't long enough to reach where they're supposed to work on. So the way they solve this problem is they have two guys at the bottom holding the ladder up in the air and a third guy up on the top of the ladder. Just the beginning of the half-assery that occurs over there. My apartment, one of the luxury apartments in Shanghai. You know how your door closes, meets the door frame right here, nice and tight. In China, it's like this. It's not even, and this big ass gap, and the cold wind blows in. It's because nobody gives a fuck. Why does nobody give a fuck? Why is nobody competent? Well, it's because at the Carrefour, which is a French supermarket where I bought my groceries, they've got 5 times as many employees as they need. In every section of every aisle, they've got a person standing there. What is this person standing there for? Well, to answer questions or something. I don't know. To help you with something. But you only need, at most, a fifth of the total people they have there. But, of course, the Chinese government has taken it on themselves as being the provider of jobs. Everybody has to have a job. And so, for example, they've got street cleaners, street sweepers. But instead of having street sweepers like we do in the United States with a sweeping machine, they have ladies who have a bicycle with a box on the back of it, and they go around and sweep with a dustpan and put it in the box. Why? Well, they need all those people to have jobs. And at the subway station, at the security checkpoint, they have 4 or 5 people standing there. But nothing ever happens, keep in mind, in China. Nothing. I mean, there's no crime. There's no, like, somebody trying to jump the turnstile of the subway. They don't need 4 or 5 people there. They just stand around and chat, and then you get to know them after a while. You'd be like, because you go to the same subway station. You'd be like, hey, it's that cute one right there. Hey there, cutie. She smiles at me. I'm Chinese. I'm like, fuck yeah, you are. Anyway, that's not the point. So, also, I tried to put on a debate tournament there, right? They told me, okay, well, you're going to run this debate tournament. Except they wouldn't empower, they wouldn't let me make it. I needed certain pieces of information. I was like, okay, well, what's the format they're running here exactly? I need to know the exact format. And they said, well, it's like this. And I said, what? You can't, what? How are you going to do that? Because they had bilingual debate rounds, but they had it structured so it was alternating rounds in English and Chinese. And they didn't have the judge pool to support this ridiculous setup they had. So I wanted to change it, but I couldn't get anybody to approve or tell me anything about whether or not I could change this thing I needed to change. It was like it was a timing thing, really. I had to change the round structure a bit. So I couldn't get a decision on it from anybody. And everybody said, well, you have to talk to Dr. Whoever, who was from Hong Kong. And because this is like a Hong Kong company that sets up a school there and hires a bunch of Chinese people to work there. Chinese people are unaccustomed to being useful. They have a British principal at the school, but he even has limited ability to make these kind of decisions because this tournament is being run by this guy from Hong Kong. Or I mean, this thing is put together by this guy from Hong Kong. So anyway, the point is, the people at the school who work there were Chinese. They have no initiative at all. If you tell them exactly what to do, they'll do it fine. And if you don't, if you say like, okay, hang all these things up over here, and there's something incredibly obvious like, don't hang it on the fire extinguisher or something, or just move around the fire extinguisher, just put them around that. But they'll just stand there like, I don't know what to do, there's a fire extinguisher here. He said, hang things up over here. They make no choices, right? They're unaccustomed to having autonomy. And without autonomy, you have a culture or a society that it's soul killing. Can you imagine having those jobs where you know that the only reason you have a job there is because they have to give you a job someplace. You don't do anything useful, and you can't really pursue other things because the government has decided where you're working. It's got to be, like I said, soul killing. So the thing is, in Taiwan, in contrast, great place. I really love Taipei. It was one of the happier couple of weeks I spent someplace other than home. I stayed in this place called the Lucky Hotel or something. I forget what it was called now, but it was a nice hotel. It was a really nice hotel. It was a boutique hotel. It wasn't very big, but man, were they good with the service. It was amazing. I couldn't need anything without somebody scrambling over to meet the need. They noticed I would drink more waters than they'd leave in the room, and they'd bring more waters the next day. When I go outside to smoke a cigarette, somebody would scramble up to hand me a glass of water to drink with my cigarette. It was crazy. It was great. I really enjoyed it there. I was too tall, I will say that. I hit my head on the stairwell 5 times in that hotel. Because it's just not made for 6'4" people. Anyway, the point of this is this whole communitarianism, individualism thing. It really boils down to autonomy. Do you have the power, the liberty, to choose to do what you wish, to follow your own interest, to be rewarded in the way that you will be rewarded, rather than in the way someone else wants to reward you? Do you have the ability to put in the effort to take chances and possibly succeed, by virtue of your merits? Or is effort a pointless endeavor because you're stuck? That's what it boils down to. And the most stuck people in the world, I know Ketchel doesn't believe in North Korea, but are the North Koreans. And why? Because it's the ultimate expression of communitarianism, whereby the group's priorities are always ahead of the individual's. And what does that end up collapsing down to? One individual's priorities matter more than everybody else's. A shit ton more. Infinitely more. There's only one person who matters in North Korea, and that's Kim Jong-un. Any thoughts from the assembled assemblage of assembles? Let's see what's going on in the old chatteroo here. You do think that a lot of Hong Kong people suck at their jobs? Well, the Zuckjack axis? I don't know what that is. Well, the people from Hong Kong that I worked with in China were very effective. But one of them was he was a white dude who grew up in Hong Kong. So he spoke perfect English and perfect Chinese. He was a Brit who grew up in Hong Kong. And he was excellent. He was my main helper in that tournament, putting it on. Once he arrived, things went a lot better because he was like unfazable. It was weird. I never met anybody so like when shit starts going awry, I start yelling at people and start, God damn it! I said put that fucking thing in the blah, 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 blah. I get like that, If things start really getting in the weeds at a tournament, I blow a gasket. So that's why I don't really host tournaments anymore. But because it's supposed to. It's such a high pressure situation hosting a tournament. You got everybody complaining about everything all the time. It's the most thankless job in the world, and it's got to run on time, or else everybody will complain. You got judges who don't know what the fuck they're doing, holding on to ballots, and you got your helper kids, right? And you're like, Judy, go find fucking Janet F. Friedman or whatever the fuck her name is, and tell her I need a goddamn ballot. That's typical debate tournament shit. Why is she holding on to it? Where the fuck is this woman? She's holding up the whole goddamn tournament. That's typical tournament hosting behavior from me. Well, I mean, everybody's complains about their own shit sometimes. I complain about certain kinds of businesses around here, and I don't know. I'm very happy. The one thing I'm pleased with in general is the way the United States deals with free expression. So, I will say this. The United States is a more staunch defender of free expression than any other country in the world, as far as I can tell. And that's important. We're not passing hate speech laws. Why? Why shouldn't you pass hate speech laws? Because hate speech is a metaphysical crime. It's not a physical crime. So if I am in fact engaging in hate speech, like Bellfire 44, with her thing about the Jews being the spawn of Satan and Eve, you want that shit out there on the discursive playing field. You want it out there so that you can attack it. discursively, where it deserves to be attacked. She didn't have any evidence. She just made the claims without any substantiation, just like her NI told her. I mean, look. Satan fucked a lot of bitches. Made a lot of babies. So, I'm sure some of them are Jews. After all, it's a matriarchal line. So, to be a Jew, the mother has to be a Jew. And Satan slays, man. He slays the puss. All day, every day. Your little lungs is too small to hot box with God. Right? So, probably some of all of the various creeds and sects of humanity are Satan spawn. Certainly, ESFPs are. Oops, I mean... ENTJs. Well, they've got Satan's offensive presumptuousness. ESFPs, they have Satan's willful illogic. And ESTPs, they've got Satan's just do it and don't deliberate attitude. And ENTPs, they've got Satan's lazy uselessness. And let's see, INTPs, they've got Satan's pig-headed self-certainty. INFPs, they've got Satan's excess moisture and failure to do. ISTPs, they've got Satan's lack of ideation. And INTJs, they've got Satan's broiling rage. And let's see, who have I forgotten? ISFPs, they don't have any of Satan's anything. They're just for humping. ISFPs, just for humping. If you're an ISFP, you should get that bumper sticker and put it on your car. Let's see. What else is there? Who did I forget about?
ENFJs.
Oh yeah, ESFJs, they've got Satan's household bossiness. ISFJs...
No, ENFJs.
ENFJs got most of Satan's qualities. They've got Satan's charm and manipulation and lack of moral center. ESFJs have Satan's tendency towards household Hitlerdom. ISFJs they've got Satan's inefficient way of doing the dishes and stuff like that. Like, Kimberly, if she's making a cup of coffee, she'll involve 6 dishes. Like, she'll pour some half and half into a bowl, and then pour some sugar into another bowl, and then spill a little milk on each of the saucers that she's put under those bowls, and get out 2 spoons to stir them before she puts them in the coffee, then pours it in the coffee, and then pours that cup of coffee into another cup, just to make sure she dirties some more dishes. So that's the satanic quality of the ISFJ, is their total lack of TE sense makes them do very labor-causing things. Like that. Did I forget anybody else?
INFJs.
ESTJs, they've got Satan's assholey presumptuousness about other people's shit. And INFJs, they've got Satan's door slam? Is that everybody?
Yeah, because when an INTP door slams you, it's icy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. They
I think they have Satan's pride a little bit.
Satan's pride as well. What do you think INFP's version of what do you think INFP takes from Satan? Selfishness?
His willingness to suffer.
That's gay. His willingness to suffer. He's not willing to suffer. He's forced to suffer. I would say, I guess that's more being forced to suffer. That's the.
I guess being willing to suffer because of your actions and because of your stubbornness.
What do you think ENTP takes away from Satan, Floyd?
Huh. Well, we're called devil's advocate for a reason.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We're the smart part of Satan.
I think like just the ears.
We're the ears in the mouth.
Whoa. INTP is.
Whoa! Let's not do anything right now, okay? Let's just stop and let's just talk this out, okay? We're Satan's cleanup guys. Hey, ENTPs, you gotta go over there. I fucked some shit up again. You gotta smooth this shit over for me. The first thing we do is say, nobody do anything. Let's just talk. If we can keep you talking long enough, eventually we'll walk out of here. We'll go get some drinks if we drink, still. And we'll party, and then, everyone will be cool.
I am eerily surprised whenever I do use FE in a very sticky situation, how well it works.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing to me.
Well, imagine that being an INFJ is using that by default. And that's why they're disturbed, ultimately, is because they see how other people aren't really responding to them or their merit. Everyone's always responding to stuff about them, They're not responding to the INFJ, they're responding to the INFJ's smoothery. And knowing that smoothery is more powerful than reality has got to be, it's got to leave one with a certain sense of purposelessness, or I don't know, something like that.
What do you think is identity for the INFJ?
I mean, I think they want very badly to be a character, to achieve on a character level. So, characters achieve because of the ways in which they're outliers usually. But individuals could be seen to achieve by the ways in which they are balanced, depending on your perspective on things, right? So, we each of us want to be a character. Somewhat want to be a character. That is to say, like, be famous and have money and power or whatever, and have good stories to tell, and have this, be able to say of ourselves, like, this is me. I'm smart. I'm witty. I'm conscientious. I'm whatever qualities you want to attribute to yourself. And we want that thing to be the perception of other people as well. And so that's sort of the FE side of things. The FI side of things is like, well, we want to be whole and comfortable and feel loved and meh and all that stuff, So as a consequence, we either prioritize kind of one or the other on those things, I think. I think INFJs prioritize the character side for a long time, and their path of actualization ultimately is to learn to embrace the FI-SI side of things instead of FV-NI side of things. Okay, any last comments before I end this video? That's half about China and half about personality types. What's it? The title of this should be what do Taiwanese independence and MBTI have in common? It's too long of a title, but something like that. No comments? Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.